The past few years have been an absolute disaster for Disney at the box office, especially when it comes to their animated movies. The things that they built this brand on have completely fallen off as families have walked away from Disney. Families no longer trust Disney. They no longer trust that they can take their kids to a movie, put them in front of a TV, and trust that Disney isn't trying to indoctrinate them with some insane shit. We heard the Disney executives about the not-so-secret gay agenda that they targeted towards children. Families heard that and they abandoned Disney. So after the failures we've seen over the past few years, whether it's from Walt Disney Animation or whether it's from Pixar, Disney had a big plan to help recoup some money, to help do a little bit of damage control, but even that has ended up backfiring in their face. Just a few days after we heard the news that Pixar, despite having layoffs in 2023, are set for a massive round of layoffs, 20% of their workforce in 2024, we got to see exactly how Disney's big plan worked. Because Disney, who's been making all these excuses that COVID is the reason their animated movies aren't doing well, despite something like Despicable Me, despite something like Puss in Boots: A Last Wish, despite all of these things, Super Mario Brothers, all these animated movies that aren't from Disney popping off and doing insane numbers, they still said it was because of COVID. So they decided they were going to release some of the movies that they put out exclusively on Disney Plus during COVID, like Soul, like Luca, like Turning Red, because they thought people hadn't had an opportunity to see these. Well, as it happens, that is completely and totally backfired in their face. Pixar suffers a soul-crushing defeat at the box office. Disney's Soul box office flop, a warning sign for future Pixar releases. Yes, somehow, some way, they took this thing and turned it into a massive L because no one was interested in watching this, despite them claiming that, there's so much demand for these movies that people really want to experience it in the big screen. That was not the case at all. Pixar's Soul ranks as Disney's latest box office humiliation. Soul, a feature-length animated film starring a black character, was released into 1,350 theaters over Martin Luther King Jr. 4-day weekend and grossed exactly, get ready to laugh, $557,000. Now, it's not like it was projected to do a ton. This is a movie that, again, got released several years ago, but it never had a theatrical run. But they still expected to get at least a couple $1 million out of something like this. Instead, they crack $500,000 over a 4-day holiday weekend. This is absolutely pathetic. Pixar's Soul said to make just a little over $500,000 over the 4-day holiday in 1,350 theaters. Simply put, this kind of offering does nothing for theaters and actually harms the Disney brand, as if they needed more bad press after 23. Would be surprised if theaters even booked Turning Red and Luca. And that's true. For February and March, theaters were expecting those other movies to release. And this is a combination of, one, Disney doesn't have anything to release this year with all the delays, with all the problems they've had. That's one of the reasons they decided to do this. But also, they thought they could get a cheap, easy win. Movies that have already been made, so you don't have to sit there and invest a ton of money into it. Just put out what you already have in theaters for the first time. But no, even something like that, they managed to fuck up because, quite frankly, people are not interested. If you would have put out something like, I don't know, Lion King or Toy Story, you know what? I almost guarantee you would have made more than $500,000. Like, guaranteed. But no, something that's never been released in America before gets released and fans aren't interested. What an embarrassing disaster for Disney and for Pixar. Just one more indication that the damage has been done at a real visceral level, that this damage has been done to the brand, to Pixar, to their animation, to everything. People do not trust Disney anymore. And now you have a movie that gets sent out there and can't even hit $1 million its first weekend at the box office. It could continue to get worse for them with some of these other ones they're about to release as well. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.